Today we're going to be talking about why using ChatGPT while you're getting a mortgage can actually lead to you paying more in the long run. That is right. If you're new to the channel, I've been a mortgage lender for over 18 years. My team's one of the top purchase teams in America. All I do is eat, breathe, and sleep mortgages. You know, hundreds and thousands of files and seeing how things work and working with underwriters. So let's talk about what's going on. Right now, we live in the era of the rise of AI. That's what I'm going to call it, right? You know, we see it in the news every day. You've got people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, oh, billionaires, oh, are they gods? No, they're not, right? They're always talking about how AI is so amazing, it's smarter than us, it's going to replace all our jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when you hear that stuff, you know, we do live in a culture where people idolize wealth. So if someone's super rich, they're like, well, they must know more than me, so I'm sure they're telling me the truth. Guys, let's just start this video. I need everybody to Google, that's right, I'm okay with the Google search, Builder AI. That's right, Google it. Builder AI is a company that they were saying was the next biggest AI company. So much money was invested in it. Big investors like Microsoft. It wasn't even AI, guys. It was a bunch of Indians in a room writing code. That is legitimately what it was. It was Indian developers writing code in a room saying it was AI. Look it up. That is the real deal, okay? Look at how much money was invested in it and look who invested in it. Okay. Anyways, so you've got everyone saying it's the next thing since sliced bread, and you try it out. Like I've done it too, like ChatGPT, Grok. I like Grok, a little salty. Gemini, and you're like, wow, this thing's amazing. Okay, here's what I've started to notice. So recently we've had a couple clients that love ChatGPT, and I get it. But the problem is this, ChatGPT is giving them really bad information. And my concern is that other people are doing these same things, and it's gonna end up with you paying more when you buy a house. So this morning, I actually did this with a couple different, I did it with ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini. For this video, we're gonna focus on ChatGPT just because that's what I'm seeing people use more. So I ask, what are the steps to buy a house? And at surface level, you're like, okay, this is legit, but it's not, okay? So step number one, it's like, look at your credit score. Okay, I think it's good to know where your credit is, like do a budget, The next one was start saving for a down payment, see if you have enough. You're gonna need between 3 and 20%. Okay, it doesn't reference like if you're VA or USDA, there is no down payment. It just says 3 to 20%. It doesn't say if you're buying an investment property, it's gonna be way more than 3%. It just has this vague ballpark. Okay, so you're like, well, that's fine. I can talk to a lender to figure it out. My concern with the first one is I worry about the people who would qualify for down payment assistance, would qualify for VA or USDA. I worry that they read this and they go, I can't save that up. I don't have that money. And home ownership becomes unaccessible to them. Even though home ownership is accessible, they can look at what ChatGPT says and go, oh, right? The next thing it says, you need money for closing costs. It's between 2 and 3%. Garbage, okay? Here's the thing, on a $100,000 loan, is there any state, $100,000 purchase, is there any state where I've seen total closing costs be $2,000 to $3,000? No, never. No, it depends on the loan amount, guys. It depends on the state. There's states like Texas and Florida where they have an extra fee at closing because of the state. There's states that don't charge income tax, so they do make a little bit more when you buy a house. But it's giving very generic information. The other thing is it doesn't say, hey, like be prepared for this, but depending on your market, you may be able to negotiate with the seller to pay your closing costs. It doesn't say that, right? And I'm thinking about it from what would I have thought in my 20s, right? I didn't know anything about buying a house. And I don't say 30s, like, look, there's a lot of people who are 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that don't know how to buy a house because no one teaches them. But I would have read that and gone, oh my God, okay, so I'm gonna need at least 6%. If I want, a house that's $200,000, I'm gonna need at least 12K. Oh God, it's not accurate. That's the thing, is like, there's so much nuance to buying a house. There's so much nuance and opportunities and mortgages. I get very worried about these generalizations. So no, it's not right on the percentage of what it will be for closing costs, because it depends on the purchase price as well as the state and the loan type. And if you're in a market that has a lot of inventory, you can easily ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. So that was the first part that really upset me, because I want homeownership to be accessible to everyone. And I really do worry that people are going to give up their dreams because of seeing something like this. Okay, then it's like, get pre-approved, find a real estate agent, go look at houses. Then it has you in contract. So it's like, do your inspections, order your appraisal, finish your application, and select a lender. Whoa, wait a second. Guys, you can't order your appraisal. That's my job, the lender. Lenders can't have borrowers be like, hey, here's my appraisal. It's the wrong order, okay? And then it got worse. So then it's like, yeah, finish your application. And then it's like, right before closing, lock your rate. Whoa, no? No? I mean, look, if I was like a predatory lender, I'd be like, ChatGPT knows it all, except for that appraisal. We just lock it right before close. 2 days, everybody. If you watch enough of my videos, let's say you haven't, here's the deal. The last thing you want to do is lock your loan right before closing, because you have no way to escape the lender if they decide they want to rip you off. It's that simple, and based on what you're reading from ChatGPT on the home buying process, you're like, oh, well, I already shopped lenders and figured out who the lowest was. And the way they tell you to do that is wrong as well, which we'll talk about. But, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get this rate. Guys, until the rate is locked, nothing is permanent. No, lenders do it all the time. Like, it's one of the biggest issues in the industry right now. There's a really big lending company where they send out a loan estimate when you first get in contract and it's not locked and it's a good rate. And they're like, oh yeah, like, if you ask about locking, they're going to say, oh, let's just wait till the end. I think rates are going to go down. And, the average American's going to be like, okay, they're a professional. They're telling me it's going to go down. No, the rate that they have on the unlocked loan estimate is BS, and they couldn't lock it today if they wanted to because they have high rates. They're going to wait till you get to the end, and they're going to go, oh, the market went up. I got to lock you at this, or you can pay a bunch of points and it's this. And you're like, but Jen, what if I show them the market is down? Doesn't matter, guys. You're hostage. Game over. They won. You got bait and switched. And the way that ChatGPT is telling you guys to shop for a house and buy a house, you are putting yourself in bait and switch territory, okay? So that one really upset me. So key takeaway from this video, guys, look, make sure you're talking to the lender day one about what they can offer in rates and fees, when they're gonna lock, have a locking plan. With my team, we are always calling you day one. We're saying, this is where rates are. This is what we've seen in the market. Personally, I like to lock day one because I can always renegotiate if rates go down. Not every lender can do that. Does ChatGPT tell you any of this? No. Okay. So then I go, hey, who are the best lenders in my area? And it's like Chase Bank. And I laughed. I really did. Because here's the thing. Chase is a great bank. Once upon a time, they used to do lending. They haven't focused on lending in like 4 years. Like, it hasn't been anything they've been focusing on huge. The other suggestions were Rocket, okay, and Veterans United. And I'm like, I haven't even indicated that I'm a veteran, but it's recommending Veterans United. Why is it recommending these companies? Simple, guys. It is going to recommend wherever it sees the most SEO. That's the world we're moving into. We're moving into whoever has the most money, whoever spends the most time with their AI developers writing stuff that AI can scan. AI will eat it up with a spoon and serve it to you as a fact. That was really troubling, because it was like, with the call centers, it's like, these two, because I'm like pros and cons of all. It's like these two are call centers, but they're known for their technology and super competitive rates. That's just a press release. That's the thing. That's not reality. As someone who competes against both of those every day, like, look, do I sometimes see Rocket do a really good deal? Yeah. Is it what I normally see? No, it's not. Just telling you what I see. Veterans United. Like, ha 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 ha. If you're a veteran, shop your rate and fee. Like, look, they're not known in the industry to be super competitive. As someone who actually looks at where they are versus other lenders every single day, would I say to my best friend, oh, go there for a deal? Hell no. Hell no. But look, what ChatGPT is doing is it's just looking at the data that it has, okay? So the conversation evolves. I ask about VA. What is the minimum credit score for VA? And it says, you know, VA doesn't have a minimum credit score. However, generally, lenders won't go below 580. That's not true. It also says if you want the best rate, you want to have the highest credit score possible. Once again, not true with VA. It's just combing websites, okay? And you're like, okay, well, you know, it's combing websites, so that must be accurate information. Yeah, here's the thing you guys really need to know. So I was getting some really incorrect information. And, you know, at one point I'm like, tell me what you know about Jennifer Beeston. And it had some of my accolades, but then it said I worked at Movement Mortgage. And there were no sources listed. You know, a lot of times there'll be a source. And I'm like, Jennifer Beeston's never worked at Movement Mortgage. Can you please check? Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. Jennifer Beeston works at Angel Oak Home Loans. I'm like, Jennifer Beeston does not work at Angel Oak Home Loans. And it goes, well, sometimes I get mixed up between past employment and current employment. And I said, Jennifer Beeston has never worked at Angel Oak or Movement Mortgage. Where are you seeing this? What is your source? Wouldn't give me a source. Would not. And so then it goes, oh, you're right. Jennifer Beeston's worked at Guaranteed Rate for 12 years, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then I'm like, where was your source for Movement Mortgage and Angel Oak? Where were you seeing that Jennifer Beeston worked there? And then it goes, my data is not always accurate. Sometimes I get confused. It's really easy to blend the information I have together, and often I'm making assumptions. Okay, why the hell would you assume I work at either of those? Like, that's offensive. But the other thing is, what? And then it gets worse. It goes, Jennifer Beeston works at Cross Country Mortgage. And I go, no, Jennifer Beeston does not work at Cross Country Mortgage, and she never has. Where are you getting your data from? Okay, so here's the thing, guys. ChatGPT, if you don't have the paid version, even if you're using 4.0, it's using a data set that it was trained on up until 2021. Between 21 and 2023, it had some additional data that was fed into it, but since 2023, it has no new data, and it's not browsing the internet. And I think a lot of people think it is, right? And if you have the expensive paid version, it can. But if you have the basic version that most Americans are using to guide their daily decisions, you are dealing with information that is over 2 years old. And I say over 2 years because you're like, well, but Jen, that's 2023. This is 2025. Guys, the initial data set is 2021. They just have a few updates since 2023. Okay? Let me get a good quote here for you guys, because this was the one that just killed me. I asked why it was giving me all this bad information, and it said, incorrect source interpretation. I incorrectly referenced outdated or incorrect data sources that misrepresented her current affiliation. The truth is, my training data includes vast amounts of information, but sometimes the sources I pull from can be outdated or inconsistent, which leads to errors like this. No live updates. As I mentioned earlier, I don't have the ability to pull real-time data, and I do rely on patterns and context within the training data. In this case, I failed to apply that knowledge correctly when providing specific details about Jennifer Beeston, which led to incorrect conclusions. What can I do better? Verification. I should always verify information before offering it. Transparency. I need to be more clear about the limitations of my knowledge and let you know when I'm not able to provide the most up-to-date or specific data. You know, what this means moving forward. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes in the context of personal or very specific information. When I'm wrong, I should admit it and correct it immediately. Here's the thing. You guys don't know when it's wrong, right? And, you know, another thing with ChatGPT is I said, hey, how should I shop lenders? And the way it recommended shopping lenders, as a lender, I laughed for about 26 minutes because it's like, well, you should have a few lenders do soft pull credits, then you should ask for a loan estimate, then you should do a hard pull credit. And it had you comparing loan estimates based on the lenders. It's like you really should compare them over a 1 to 2 week period. Guys, rates change every single day. Comparing lenders on different days is like comparing a banana on a Monday to a different banana on Friday. Did one rot more than the other? I don't know. When was the Friday banana picked? It doesn't work, right? You know, the loan estimate thing, you know, here's the thing. I'm not going to give you a loan estimate until you're in contract. I'll give you a loan summary that shows you the rate I could lock you at if you get in contract today, that shows you my fees. It's super accurate. But I don't trigger a loan estimate because of what it does with the rest of my system, right? And so I push back on ChatGPT and I say, hey, not all lenders are going to give you a loan estimate before you're in contract. They may give you a loan summary. Oh, yes, I've researched further. You are correct. Okay. And also rates change daily. So how could I compare lenders in a 2-week period and have it be accurate? Oh, you are correct. Upon further research, I have found, and it lists sources that verify what I'm saying is accurate. That's the problem, right? The problem is what I'm starting to see is, you know, we've had a couple clients, and look, guys, I'm not against you guys trying AI. I'm not against you playing with it, but I am against having someone tell me that I don't know how to do my job because they're talking to a system that doesn't have an accurate data set, that's making assumptions off of pattern recognition that are wrong, and that if I push back on, then does further research and gives the correct information. You guys don't know how to push back on it. So we're at a point right now where, like, I've only had it happen maybe twice where we've had clients where they believe ChatGPT over me and my team no matter what we say. Doesn't matter what we say. You know, they are going to believe ChatGPT no matter how many different ways I show them that I know what I'm talking about. Regardless of all the, like, you know, #1 VA, top 1%, woman in the United States with most loans closed for 2024, right? Like, I have all the credibility, but they trust ChatGPT more. So at this point, when we have clients like that, we're like, hey, we're not a good fit. And the reason's this. I welcome questions. I welcome it. I will teach you every single thing I know. It's why I have this YouTube channel. And just so you guys know, I do not allow AI to train on my channel. So if you're like, well, Jen, I'm just going to have it watch your channel and tell me everything, I don't allow it. So if you ask Grok to watch my entire channel, it doesn't have permission. Okay. And there's a lot of experts who are making it. They're safeguarding, because the last thing I want is an AI hallucination that's tying back to something I did. And that's what was going on with the, you know, Jennifer Beeston works here, Jennifer Beeston works there. It's an AI hallucination. Definitely check out the term. Make sure you guys know what that is. But the bottom line is this. Guys, I want the best for you when you're buying a house. I really do. It's why I have this channel. It's why I've been doing this for so long. And I am really concerned about the bad information that people are getting. I am concerned when, you know, people trust ChatGPT blindly and they're going to wait till the end to lock their rate. If you're working with me, I'm going to be telling you, hey, this doesn't make sense. Let's talk about this now, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'll be arguing with ChatGPT. But what if you're not working with me? What if you're working with someone that's like, yeah, sounds good to me, because they know they can charge you a higher rate and fee? You know, what if you waste money and you go and you get an appraisal, then you go to the lender's like, I can't even use this. It's because you're getting bad information. So really, 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 would I recommend ChatGPT right now to help you with loan information? No, guys, no. It's basically the same as a wannabe loan officer that's just reading stuff online. That's it. And the worst part with it is that unless you have the paid version, they're reading old articles about lending and making assumptions based off of that. There's a lot of nuance to mortgage lending. There's a lot of opportunities where what's been written doesn't show it. So please, 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 guys, always ask questions. If you have a question, just reach out to my team. You can call or text us 786-933-2077. Here's what you need to know. The people who answer the phone, right? If you call in, you're gonna get Sandy, Alyssa, Amber, Linda, or Christina. Usually it's Sandy or Alyssa, right? Or Christina on weekends. All of them are licensed loan officers. All of them know how loans work, and they also know if there's a question that they don't know the answer to, they're gonna go to an underwriter. Because when you're getting a loan, it's not ChatGPT that stamps it, it's not even the loan officer that stamps it, it's the underwriter. So we will always make sure that you get accurate information so that you can close on the house. Questions, comments, have you guys noticed this? Feel free to drop it in the box, but I wanted to bring it up because it's one of those things where I'm like, people are gonna get hurt. They're gonna get hurt. Thanks for watching.